Hello everyone, this is Violet. Welcome to Live Smarter playlist. In this playlist, we're going to talk about the ways you can make your life better. And I'm going to use my personal experience in this videos. 5 years of teaching might not sound like a lot, but I learned a lot about people. And the first time that I stepped in the classroom, I thought I was there to teach English or programming or any other subject, but I ended up learning even more. Today, I'll share the lessons that I learned along the way, and maybe you'll recognize them in your own life too. Everyone wants to be seen. Um, there are two sides to this. When there's a student that is too quiet and does not participate in the class, and when you take interest in their inner world, when you ask about their interest or the subjects they liked, they always tend to open up and they turn out to be amazing people with their rich inner life, inner world even. I always relate to those students because I didn't have the confidence to participate in most activities in class, but I used to have a lot of interests. I used to have a lot of wonder about the world, and I always researched about different topics. That's why I think if someone took the time to know and to ask about me, I would be I would be thrilled, and it would mean the world to me. Also, from the other point of view, when there are students that disrupt the class or they throw in a fun fact every once in a while to gain that popularity, or maybe they don't want to listen to you because they just want to be noticed. It's the same case here. They just want to be included in any way possible. Some of them know how and some of them don't. And you can actually relate this. You can actually see this in real life too. This is what I realized about people. We all crave recognition, not always praise, but just to be noticed. For example, I have seen this a lot in workplaces. Maybe you have a coworker, maybe you have a friend that always needs to make a comment, always likes to contribute in some way in the work that you're doing. And we might not appreciate that all the time because, well, maybe they don't have the expertise, or maybe they are not in the context of that project or work that you are doing. But still, you don't have to always take their opinions into that project, into that work, but it's always good to acknowledge them, thank them for their opinion, and say that you will work on it, say that you will think about it. And that is what they need. Sometimes in a good way and sometimes in a bad way. Even if it's in a bad way, even if you know that they need this, even if you know that they need this recognition to feed their ego, um, it's not bad to give them that once in a while. I know it might seem controversial, but I I think that most of the time it's just what they need. And why not give it to them? Maybe you could be the turning point in their lives. In life, in relationships, in your workplace, just acknowledge people. Um, Even a little bit can go a long way. Patience reveals more than pressure. Um, I have two stories about two different students that I'm going to talk about here. Um, Back when I was teaching English, I used to have this student that was struggling a bit to keep up with the book and the whole learning process. I used to always keep her in the circle. I used to always ask her questions. I didn't let her um, feel excluded from the activities because I knew she needed that extra support. I knew that if I didn't believe in her, if I didn't believe that she could answer those questions, um, she would lose that hope and that attitude, that positive attitude toward learning altogether. That's why I kept encouraging her to answer, even if they were wrong. I used to just explain that, look, it's not the end of the world. It's okay to make mistakes. You're just learning. You're just trying your best and making an effort. This was back in 2020. We had online classes, and I remember one time that I logged in my account to correct the homeworks, but then I saw that I had received a message from the student. She was thanking me for believing in her and also for teaching her how to be more confident, and that made my day. And after 5 years, it's still one of the best memories I have from my classes. Another one was we had a student that wanted to enroll in our classes. He had left another institute because he thought that it wasn't, well, maybe aligned with his goals. He was really anxious and stressed because he thought that it was his fault that he didn't understand the questions that I was asking him because, well, I wanted to know his level and I wanted him to make some kind of project so that I could assess his level. That's when I explained to him that it wasn't his fault. It didn't even um, affect his worth in my eyes, even a little bit. I explained that it was just because maybe it wasn't explained in the way that he could understand. Maybe it was not taught in the best way possible. And that's why he couldn't understand. That's why he had some kind of maybe gaps in his understandings about that um, subject. We talked for a while, and I could see that anxiety just disappear, and he was feeling more confident and more sure of himself. And that was my goal. That should be the goal, you know? Because in real life, pushing harder rarely works. Patience um, builds trust and growth. It gives people the impression that you believe in them, that you know um, they can accomplish the thing that they need to accomplish. Whether with colleagues, with kids, or your family, patience always shows that you care about the people around you more than controlling them. People learn in different ways. Um, it's okay if you have a different pace than others to learn a subject. It's okay um, if you don't understand just by an explanation. But pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to how you learn. We have different ways of learning, and sometimes we need to mix them to actually comprehend a subject. Pay attention to the signs, and we can talk about how to find out your ways of learning in another video. But for now, my advice is learn how you learn and integrate that into your own life. And if you're a teacher or in a teaching position, remember to mix all of these different approaches and ways so that you can have a better class with great comprehension of the subject. Remember, when you want to learn something, when you want to understand something, there is no right way. We all perceive information differently, we all process information differently. So when you see different ways of thinking, respect that and also see what you can learn. Because it's important to see and hear and think about different ways of approaching problems, different ways of approaching different subjects. Remember that people process experiences differently.